I asked healthcare workers to share their scary stories, and here is the first one of this season. It goes, "Hey Becca, I have a scary story I want to share. I worked as a CNA at a hospital, and one of my jobs was to help get the room set up for new admits. I would always fold the gown and socks and place them on the edge of the bed, amongst other things, to get the room ready for the new patient. One night shift, I walked past one of the assigned rooms, and there were socks and a gown on the foot of the bed, the same way I usually folded them. I asked the nurse assigned to the room if we were getting a new admit, and she said there was not a new admit that she knew of. I asked her who put the socks there, and she said that she thought I was the one who put them there. So I cleaned up the socks and put them back. An hour later, I come back and the socks and gown are in the same place, the same way that I fold them. I proceeded to ask the nurse again why the gown and socks were in the room, but I was met with the same response of she didn't know. This time, I leave them on the bed, thinking maybe the charge nurse put them there. About 30 minutes later, I check to see if the new patient has arrived, and I see that the socks are inside out, like they had been taken off on the floor, and the gown is hanging up on one of the hooks. I asked the nurse if the patient was in that room, and she said that she hadn't gotten any word of any new admits, and she doesn't know why the gown and socks are in there. I'm getting freaked out at this point, and I go ask the charge nurse if she has any information on a new admit in that room. She looked surprised and asked how I knew about the patient. I told her someone had placed socks and a gown in that room. She then told me that wasn't possible because we were supposed to be getting a new post-surgical placement. So that's a patient who had just gotten surgery and then would be going on her floor. We were supposed to be getting a new post-surgical placement, but the patient ended up not making it through the surgery. The charge nurse said she hadn't told anyone to set up a room because she kept getting calls that the patient would most likely be going to ICU instead of our floor. What really freaked me out was the time of death correlated with the time the gown was hung up and the socks were on the floor. Happy spooky season, you guys.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all paid. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, this is money coming. It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, this is money.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our 31 Days of Halloween. I hope you're enjoying it so far. So today we are going to be talking about healthcare workers, nurses, techs, CNAs, and their stories. And I work in that field. I still work. I used to be a tech. I used to be a CNA. I've been through it all, and we deal with death on a regular basis, so this is normal for us, but we have seen so many things, and I think healthcare workers have the absolute best stories, and today I'm going to share a few with you. Not only am I going to share a few of them with you, but I will be showing you one of my stories when I used to work in a nursing home. Oh, that was a lot of fun. But I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to the stories, and I'll see you at the end for my story. Stay tuned. Bye.
Hey, when you see me on your For You page, you already know what it is. I got another story. So this one takes place after COVID, like 2020, 2021. It's got to be 2020 because I hadn't had my daughter yet. But again, working for the CNA agency that I talked about working for before, they had sent me to this new facility that I had never been to. This night I was doing 3 to 11. I had learned my lesson about that 11 to 7, baby. I learned to leave that where that's at. But I get there at 3, I'm doing my rounds, I'm taking care of everybody like I'm supposed to be taking care of them. I'm getting ready for dinner. I think dinner was around 6. And then pretty much after 6, they told me that the shift was pretty much easy after that because everybody went to bed and they would sleep. What I didn't know about this facility is actually it was a 2-story facility. So they had like a first floor and a second floor. This was something coming from a small town. I did not know they had no 2-floor nursing home facilities. So since I had patients at the end of the first hall, I also had patients upstairs because you just had like 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 16 and 17 or whatever was upstairs. So I had to go upstairs. Good thing was that they did have an elevator, so I didn't have to walk up and down the stairs pregnant or nothing like that. So I go upstairs to meet my resident. It's this sweet older man. We talk for a little bit. Everything's good. I told him if he needs anything, hit his call light, and I would be right upstairs to check on him and make sure that he's okay. He told me that he was fine, to turn off the lights, and he was going to go to bed. This resident was in like room 7. That means that the room and the floor under him would have been like room 14 or something like that. This resident was a woman, and I went in to check on her and make sure she was okay too. She said she was fine, but the only complaint that she had was that it sounded like somebody was scratching on her ceiling. So immediately I'm like, okay, if somebody's scratching on your ceiling, that means they're scratching on the resident upstairs. Something has to be scratching on his floor. So I go upstairs to make sure he's okay and he's not out of bed or anything, because I just talked to him and he said he was going to sleep. I cut the lights off. He hasn't hit a call light or anything. I go in there, he's completely knocked out in his bed. When I come in, he wakes up and I ask him, I say, hey, do you know anything about any scratching noises or anything like that? The resident downstairs says that she can hear scratching. He said, it's actually funny that you say that, because I've been hearing scratching come from the wardrobe closet in the corner over there. Now, I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, but it was like one of the big like wooden wardrobe closets with the 2 doors, and that's what every resident had their clothes in. They didn't have like closets or anything like that at this facility. Everybody had a big wooden wardrobe closet. So I said, that's weird. At this point, he had his little side table lamp on. I went and cut the big light on, and I went to go open the wardrobe closet and see if something was in the wardrobe closet. But before I did that, someone was like, Brittany, you should probably call somebody in here. So I go and grab the nurse outside on the med cart, and I'm like, hey, I know this is weird, this is a situation, but just come in here with me and make sure everything's okay. We open the wardrobe closet, and I kid you not, there are scratch marks, deep scratch marks, all in the bottom of this wardrobe closet. Now, it's important to add that this wardrobe closet was not big enough for a person to just go in and stand in. The only way somebody would be able to fit in the bottom of this wardrobe closet were to be half hanging out, scratching on the floor, or bent over, scratching, kind of like a cat type of thing. I knew it wasn't the resident. The resident was bedbound for the most part. He is not getting out of that bed. So who is scratching this wardrobe closet? Okay, we go downstairs, we call security, we get them to check the hallway cameras. Nobody is in the camera or on the camera coming down the hall going into his room. He's not leaving his room. Again, he's bedbound. He's not getting out of that bed. But those claw marks were not anything that a human could have done. Even if they did have long fingers, those were like cat claw marks, like cat, dog, some type of animal claw marks. So we get downstairs and we get back to the nursing station after we checked in with security, and security is left. Where the nursing station is, there's an elevator. That is the same elevator I just took to go upstairs. That is the only elevator to get upstairs, the only way to get upstairs. We're sitting here talking about the situation that just happened, me and this nurse Jackie, and we're watching the elevator go from 2nd floor to 1st floor to the bottom level of which was under the 1st floor, the garage or something like that. Open, close, and do it all over again. So this door is acting or opening like somebody's on the elevator pushing a button and somebody's walking off the elevator. Didn't do this the whole night until we went upstairs to investigate the scratching noise. And y'all know what I did. I switched the patient and switched the facility. Get somebody else to do it.
Okay, so I was working in this nursing home, but it was a really old nursing home, but it was owned by a new company. So I was hired by the new company, but we knew that the prior company, there was a lot going on and there was a lot of hunting. But when the company, the new one, had purchased that nursing home, they did not disclose, or at least to the workers, that this place was kind of sort of haunted and you will see things in the hallway and in the bedrooms. But anyways, so I'm working there, and normally I will work the 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift. And I will work in a memory care lockdown unit. So those are already creepy in their self. But I had this really, really cute patient that I loved him. He was the best. So he was very contracted. So his body was very contracted. So he was in a wheelchair, but he would do everything. Literally, he would go and have breakfast at, what's it called? What's the name of that one breakfast place that you go and it's like a membership. He had this membership, and he will go have breakfast. Sometimes he will even invite us to go with him, and sometimes he will offer to pay for us. But sometimes they will have someone assigned to him to go. But because he used to go when he was up, doing things, he also had his memory. Everything else did not work, like from the neck down, but his memory worked. So sometimes I'll go with him, and sometimes they will just assign me to be with him to, escort him to go to the place. It's Breakfast Club. He will go to this thing called the Breakfast Club. It's like a thing for him, and he go and meet his friends and all that. But anyway, so this particular day, for a week, I'd say for about 5 days, I was off. I took PDOs, paid time off, and I went on vacation. Anyways, so I was gone for 5 days, and when I came back, I ended up working an evening shift because one of my coworkers worked my shift for me because I wasn't able to come to work on time because I was traveling. I drove. So when I came back, my coworker did the morning shift for me, and I naturally did her night shift, which is from 3 to 11. So then I'm like, okay, well, I went to work for her, but that particular day I hadn't seen my patient, right? I hadn't seen him. He wasn't really my patient, but he was everyone's patient. But he was one of my friends. So while I was gone for 5 days, I did not realize. Anyway, so let me tell you. So I started working. Normally after like 7 p.m., you'll get all the patients together, after they have their dinner, then you're going to help them get ready for bed. So I was getting all my patients ready for bed. I had one hallway that belonged to me with about 10 patients. So I'm getting all my patients ready. And mind you, when I came back, I hadn't seen my patient. But I'm thinking, because sometimes he will go and interact with the other patients outside. But sometimes, because he had his mind, sometimes he just said that he didn't want to deal with them because some of them had dementia, some of them didn't, but he liked to be in his own space. So I'm thinking when I came back that day, because I usually deal with patients in the morning, which is when they're more active, but in the afternoon, when you work afternoon, they're more like ready to go to bed, they're more tired and da-da-da. So I'm thinking, oh, he's in his room. So, eventually I'm going to be able to deal with him. Not deal with him, but, help him to bed and da-da-da when I'm getting ready to put the other patients to bed. So I didn't bother going into his room to go see what he was doing and how he was doing. So I decided, okay, I'm going to see him whenever I start putting all the patients to bed. So I'm dressing all the patients to go to bed. I'm in room 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I got to his room. But in the rooms, there's always 2 patients. So there's 2 beds. When you walk into the room, there's 2 beds. There's like a little sheet. There's like one of those little things that you pull that separates the bed, basically, right? So I helped the first patient, but as soon as I walk into the room, I went to say hello to my friend because he's one of my favorite patient there, right? He was one of my favorite patients there. So I went and I said hello to him. He was in bed watching TV, blah, blah, blah. I saw him watching TV in bed. He was watching the news. I remember it like it was yesterday. He's watching the news. I said hello to him. He said, oh, how was your trip? Blah, blah, blah. I said it was great. And then I went and I did the first person. And then I went back. I helped him to bed. He told me exactly what to do, grab this and grab that, because he's in the bed. So I'm basically just helping him, get himself together so he can be ready to go to bed. So I finished, and then I went into my next room, but as I'm coming out of the hallway, I see one of the techs that also work in the same unit as me, and I was like, hey, I need some help with the next patient, which is in the next room. So then I'm talking to her, and I'm like talking to her about what me and the patient, because, when you're getting the patient ready and you have, little conversation, I'm telling him about my vacation, he's telling me about how things are going, and I'm telling the tech that it was so nice to see Mr. So-and-so. The lady looked at me like there was no blood in her face. Like she looked like she was literally white, like pale like a ghost. She was a white lady, pale like a ghost. I'm shocked. I'm like, why do you look like that? What's going on? She said, did you say Mr. So-and-so in room blah, 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 blah? I said, yeah. Why? What's up? She's looking, then she starts stepping back away from me, like she's moving away from me as if I did something. I'm like, what's going on? But because when you work in medical field, everything is so important. Like there are things that you just cannot say, there are things that you cannot do, da da da. So I'm thinking I did something wrong, or I made a mistake or something. So I'm like, what's going on? Why do you look like that? Why are you making that face? She said, Mr. So-and-so died over the weekend. Girl, I literally almost shit myself. I said, what do you mean he died over the weekend? He's on the bed. I just talked to him. He's watching the news. I just changed him so he can get ready for his to go to bed. And we had a whole conversation. She said, not with Mr. So-and-so. That bed is empty. They haven't put a new patient in that room yet or in that bed yet, but he passed away about 3 or 2 days ago. But it was over the weekend, right before I came. I said, no. So I grabbed her. I'm like, come, you have to go see. He's in the room. What do you mean? We got to the room. The bed was empty. The bed was empty. Now, the patient who is in the bed in the front by the door cannot really confirm or deny because she had dementia. So it was like I was talking to myself. Basically, to her, she probably thought like, this girl's crazy. Why is she talking to herself? This patient. That's what I'm thinking, right? But when we got into the room, that bed was completely made. It was nicely fixed. There was nobody on the bed. Till this day, I still think about like, who the heck was I talking to? And why was I hearing a response? And why was he communicating with me as if my patient that I knew and loved and spent a lot of time with was there? That's crazy. Until this day, I cannot explain exactly what happened or who I saw or what I saw or who I spoke with. Till this day, I'm still like blown away about this. But I also have seen things before that other people cannot see, so it makes sense that I would see him, but it was crazy. And also, he used to be in the military. So he would tell me all his crazy stories about the military. I loved him so much. Anyways, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Let me know if you've ever had any experiences or if you are a healthcare worker and you have heard or seen things or even have one of your random rooms in the hospital or a nursing home where you work where the call bell will go off by itself even though it's an empty room. Let me know. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.